all-star names. Willie gets paid, and the U.S. shows you how gold is made. But let's say hi to the boys first. Ryan Whitney, the Wit Dog. What is shaking, buddy?
Oh, fucking R.A. spit bars off the hop here. Holy shit. Who is this guy?
We got Will Smith on, so he feels like rap a little bit to get this thing going.
Was it the clean version like Will Smith? And I don't know if we talked about it in the interview.
Yeah, we did.
Oh, we did.
We mentioned it with the all-time Family. I think it's Family Guy clip, but Will Smith, the clean rap. But nothing, boys. Nothing's going on here. Pretty low-key weekend. A little bit of a snowstorm yesterday, so finally got our first snowfall. I think my basement's going to flood again tomorrow when the snow melts, so I'm completely panicked about that. You know, the basement that can never, ever, ever get fixed, no matter how many people we hire to then tell us it'll never flood again. But you know what? I'm not in a complaining mood. I'm in a fabulous mood. Wow. I'm excited to record.
Gee, can we get somebody with a camera having these interactions between Whit and all these contractors? That would be fucking gold. And
that'd be real funny for you, eh, Biz? Just laughing it up as you build your crib in fucking Scottsdale.
Send one over to my place, because fucking we're about to have a rough and rowdy over here.
If I take a cameraman to down every time we redo the basement and try to waterproof this thing over and over, then we get to have a cameraman follow you when you're physically and mentally abusing your contractor as your house gets finished 8 months after he told you it would be. That'll be the deal.
You would have as many seasons as Lost. That's how many fucking times.
I feel like I'm on an island when it rains and all of a sudden there's water through into our heater and all this other crap down in the unfinished.
That's just a golf simulator. It's trying to bring you into reality of whatever the one.
Well, last flood, I was down in Orlando and I went and did that 117 holes in like 2.5 days right before Christmas, and I got the call from the wife. She's down there with the trash barrel, she's shoveling water, and the kids are screaming. She's taking them to hockey, and I'm just hitting my 14th drive of the day. I was like, oh, this is not good. But today, at least tomorrow, I'll be home and I'll be the one bailing water out of the basement, motherfucking myself for buying this house.
Hey, Memes has to put your wife's head on the Lieutenant Dan on the ship with Tom Hanks, like battling the downstairs basement, the treacherous weather down there.
Yeah, and then you can put my head on Forrest when he just dives in when he hears his mom isn't doing well at home, and all of a sudden I can do some laps in the basement actually. So but as I mentioned just quickly there, coming off the gold medal, it's been an amazing week to be a USA Hockey fan, an alum of USA Hockey, and the World Junior Team. I ever do anything in the tournament? Nope. But all these kids nowadays, they're coming up, they're getting better. We'll get into it, and I'm excited to talk that and the NHL. William Nylander, stories galore. It's mid-season, but it feels like it's buzzing right now. Sometimes you get the quiet weeks. We're not in the midst of that right now.
Not at all.
The doldrums of the season, and actually we were on our.
I feel like that's like February, second week of January to second week of February.
Anson Carter agrees. We're on our TNT call, and I agree. This is kind of like the quote unquote doldrums, but because this NHL season's been so excited, we still have fucking headline stories coming out. This season has been bananas. There's been no lulls as far as storylines are concerned, and then of course Willie gets his bag. So yeah, we're gonna get to that. RA, I want to know. Hey, I want to get to the bottom. And we were talking before we got on here. G's talking about how he had 4 goals and 23 assists in his last year of playing high school hockey.
No. You asked me what like a stat. I don't know.
Well, you mentioned how you played against unreal players in midget and high school.
No.
Yes,
No. Let me say.
The conversation is when Ellie talked about playing against the cord potentially in high school. And I'm like, when the fuck were you sharing with Joey the Cord?
He said he played Division II Massachusetts high school. That's how he was like, I came from the doldrums of Massachusetts high school. And I was like, that's me. The doldrum Mike. I sucked at hockey.
So, time out. So you said that, you chimed in. So Whit started, Crime Dog McGruff over here trying to Google your stat lines. And there's nothing. There's nothing on hockey.
Well, his brother's on Elite Prospects. Cornelli says until you play junior, you can't get on Elite Prospects. So once you play like a higher level, you get on. I don't know the rules. So then I dug a little deeper and I found out of the Burlington, I guess it's the season preview. 2011.
This could be like RA lying about playing high school basketball type.
I didn't lie. I didn't lie.
Point contest. I didn't lie. Lay off the guy.
I didn't lie
with that range.
Stop.
Did we get a yearbook? Did we get a yearbook photo of RA?
Unfortunately, I did not get a yearbook.
There's
this year.
no
I'm still
other-
bitter
For a
about
guy
it.
who sends us pictures of like old
Exactly.
RA, we get
Hey.
once a week. We get an old picture.
We got
of
a picture
How
today of
post that picture.
RA with 4 absolute missiles. RA has hair on, a tan.
and a tan.
I mean, you were thinning out a little bit on top at that
Oh,
point,
yeah.
but you had hair and you looked fucking great.
It was like an ad for like not doing hard drugs. No offense, RA, you look phenomenal, but in the end, that picture blew me away. I said to a couple of my buddies, I go, look at RA boys, you were an absolute stallion. We gotta post it.
RA, if we got you Raya and got you on the app and you put that as your cover photo, you might still be tapping like missile launcher 30-year-olds. That's how good this photo. I
let me
know
check
it was
my
taken on a Polaroid, but if you take a screenshot of the Polaroid, I think you're going to be doing good on Raya.
But he has so many pictures of himself as a youngster, but then he doesn't have a yearbook. It's like, this guy's the picture guy. Something
That's
doesn't
what
add
I'm
up
saying.
here.
That's what I'm saying.
No, we got fucked on a yearbook. It was the last year my high school was open. They actually gave us a refund years later. They supposedly lost it. I had classic old pictures when I was a little kid. They lost the whole fucking package supposedly. So I'm still bitter that I do not have a high school yearbook at all.
Just so happens the year was hitting pointers and jump shots.
No, you gotta listen to the. I was JV. I didn't play senior year because I got puppy loved. I was all. I started dating a girl. I was like, oh, I ain't playing basketball. And then she started playing girls basketball, and I went to the coach. I was like, oh, can I play? He's like, nope, should have been here
Any
to try out.
former teammates on that team we can get on the podcast?
You already just
No, I
played
stopped listening.
basketball your senior year for a girl, and then she went and played basketball.
I didn't go to try.
This
This
is-
guy was just lovey
This
dovey.
is the actual love basketball story. They stole the concept
Yeah,
from
except I'm
RA.
white and I can't play basketball.
No, I know they had to change it obviously and like to sell it.
No, I
We
didn't
know.
quit. Tryouts hadn't started. I started dating her. And I was senior in high school, all googly eyed. Fucking loved, like a fucking cartoon character. I loved like hearts in the eyes. And then so I didn't go to tryouts. And then when the girls' tryouts came, she started playing. I tried to get back on the hoop team then. And they're like, nope, man, tryouts were 2 weeks ago. Should have been here. So they missed out.
So he was a bookie for all their games. It all worked out.
We're gonna come down. No, that did come to college. Although I did get caught. Sorry, Biz. I did get caught giving out football cards in high school. When I didn't get suspended.
What do you mean football cards? Like to take the games, to bet the games?
Yeah, do you ever seen like the little white cards? But way before the internet, you would circle 4 teams, but you put like a $10 pack. $10 down, you with like $100. Yeah, I mean, I think because
I
I was
got
high
a
school.
good story about.
Wait, I was gonna ask, were you aware that RA's voicemail used to be his picks? You would call RA and on his voicemail, it would give you the daily picks, so he would change his daily voicemail every day, and that's where the people that he was being a bookie for would call in to get the lines. Right, RA?
Oh, and then their message after hearing the lines would be who they want.
Not picks, yeah. They were. I would, for informational purposes only. I would leave a voicemail with that Sunday's lines, and people, for amusement only, would maybe leave who their picks were later, and we would keep tab of it, and cash out at the end of the year or cash in. But yeah, it was way before the internet. Like, hey, it's Brian not here right now. Mr. Black, if you're wondering, New England 6 with a 42, Seattle 3. And then they will leave a voicemail and see how it goes.
You're ahead of the times, all right. But my football pick, I'm glad this just came up because I forgot. I have a buddy who was in a really big survivor pool. So it ended up down to about there were 7 guys left, and the last 3 weeks of the season you had to pick 2 winners each week, right? So you had the first 14 weeks you got to pick a winner, and then you got to pick 6 winners the last 3 weeks. Like basically impossible to do. I mean, there's $350,000 in this pool.
Oh my
Okay, so there's 7 guys left. So going into the last week, the guy who's running the pool, he sends out an email to the 7 guys. Listen, this is what we can do. Like, apparently the site was kind of hard to work with, and it was like all legally put in nowadays. It's different. So he says, this is what we could do. Every guy right now, and we need everyone to vote the same. What is the word I'm looking for? All right,
Consensus.
No
Consensus.
We are such jokes when everyone has to pick
like a juror, like the juror.
Yeah, like
Cast a vote, a ballot.
no, like everyone has like if one person doesn't do it,
Unanimous.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we got it.
that.
Yeah.
Gee,
We are put that.
gee,
Great job, Jay. I did play high school hockey. I can't even think of the word unanimous. So back to the story.
Yeah, back.
So 7 people. It has to be unanimous. The one option is everyone votes that everyone's going to get $10,000 no matter what, and then the next, 290 grand the winner can get, or the winners will split. And if you lose, if you don't have two winners, you're guaranteed 10 grand. It's a $100 pool.
But you
right?
can that point forward, can you continue to split if a few more people get eliminated?
Well, no, because like you weren't allowed to find out who anyone else was. He wouldn't give you names, he wouldn't give you anything else. So he's running it. So it's 10 grand for everyone guaranteed, and still the ability to win 290.
I think
It's a no brainer.
No brainer.
One guy said no.
Okay.
And apparently, like, my buddy reached out. He's like, hey, listen, can you ask this guy again? Like, this is just ridiculous. And he's like, no, this guy's hedged everything out. There's no way that he'll make a deal. Like, just such a brain-dead, dumb, dickhead move. So, my buddy ends up picking two winners, along with 5 other people. 2 people got knocked out. One of them was the asshole who ended up. He had hedged. I'm sure he ended up hedging away to win something, but that's karma right there. Now, the person who's most furious is the other guy who wanted to take the deal. So he got. I would want to kill that dude. The one guy who didn't pick 2 winners. So my buddy with a huge dub. I think the 5 winners ended up getting about right around 60 grand each, something like that. So an amazing weekend for him.
Okay, so after that, the 5 guys decided to hedge 5 guys?
No, because all 5 picked 2 winners, so they had to split. Okay. So in the end, there were 5 winners in the pool.
Okay. Sorry.
And then, totally different subject, but another funny thing that happened this weekend. Brian Yandel, there was a big kind of fundraiser for his son Liam's team's going to the Quebec Pee Wee tournament, 2011 Boston Junior Terriers. So they had a fundraiser. We went over to Florian Hall in Dorchester, and Big Kevin Hayes was there. Kevin's dad, greatest guy in the world. Now, he's a big guy. I said, Big Kevin Hayes. He looks great now. He's lost a lot of weight, but still a big dude. And we're just shooting the shit. I said, oh, how was the dad's trip in St. Louis? He said it was a blast. He said, we had an absolute great time. Kevin, want to know what fucking Kevin did to me? Apparently, they went around to the guys beforehand and said, hey, we're ordering all this merch and jerseys and shirts for the dads. What size is your dad, Kevin? He goes, medium. So he shows up with all this shit. He's like, you motherfucker. Kevin's like, I didn't do it. He's denying it to his dad, but his dad says it was him. So I don't know what went on there. It sounded like the dads in St. Louis had a bunch of beauties there and had a great old
turning point. TSM turning point for the season.
Possibly.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, big shootout with the other day. Biz, you do anything exciting over the weekend or just relax?
No, before we come to me, we got to go back to G. So who do you think can bring proof of either high school hockey or
He played. I know he played. I do know he played.
Like what? Like the JV or the
he
big
played
varsity?
Burlington High. I do know.
Burlington High, not a good program.
Okay, so I asked you earlier, what would your stat line look like your senior year? And you said 4 goals and 23 assists.
Yeah, that's a pretty good stat.
No. Is there documentation of this? I want to know if this fucking kid was snapping around tape to tape.
I think in the end, I think he just a little salt and pepper with the 4 and 23 for 27. I think it was probably like 2 and 14 for 6.
I would agree. I would definitely agree.
Okay. All right.
And I, like I said, I was a mediocre high school hockey player. I wasn't the top pairing defenseman. The middle pairing guy. I never said I was a good hockey player. I said I played against good hockey players.
Correct. I wouldn't mind a senior year program. If you got one late in the season, I just love to peek the stat line.
I definitely have a senior year program lined up.
Were you on the Biz program like 4 minutes a game? Or were you...
I don't think Mass High School hockey...
get 8 minutes a game. 8 to 10.
Second pair
I'd say around there. I don't think Mass High School hockey was keeping track of time on ice back in 2010, 2011, but
now you were one of the kids that was like smoking weed before practice, and you were one of those kids, right?
No, I actually didn't smoke weed in high school. I was
that's good to hear.
Yeah, I was a drinker. I took hockey pretty seriously. I didn't. Yeah, it was. I took it pretty seriously.
All right, you hear that? You took high school talk. How do you feel?
But I was a fucking great student, like in 1 through 12.
Oh, well, I was saying that was brain development. Were you smoking dope in high school?
Yeah, I didn't become a regular stoner up until college. I sporadically
did high school. You let your brain develop too. Well, that's good. That's awesome stuff.
First smoke I was 12.
Okay, so G, what were you saying?
I'll tell you what. While I have you guys here, I will say I will be at Penn State this weekend, filming the Chicklets University episode. playing against Michigan State, so very excited to go check out the Pagula, Hockey Valley.
You're gonna see the Iceman, dude, from Michigan State.
Exactly. Gonna see the Iceman, Isaac Howard, baby, with the World Junior team.
When you say Pagula, the same ones as Buffalo Sabres?
Yeah, that's correct. So they purchased they paid for the rink down at Penn State.
God, these guys are rich, eh?
Oh yeah, they're pretty rich. But they own an NFL and an NHL team. They're pretty rich.
Oh, they own the fucking Bills now too?
Yeah.
Oh fuck, I totally forgot that or didn't know that. God, Merles is probably fucking losing his mind right now that I don't know that. Sorry,
no, he
Merles.
still has the Swedish stiletto heel up his sleeve because he's doing dishes after his bender in Gothenburg.
He was posting videos to the chat about the representation of Bills Mafia in Miami and Fort Lauderdale at that elbow room place that we went to. Yep. So did they just pull off a big win?
Huge win. They won the AFC East on Sunday night against the fraud Dolphins. That game was for the AFC East. So instead of, I think the Dolphins hosting a playoff game as the 2 seed, they're now going to Kansas City playing Saturday night, and the Bills get to host the Steelers, who stink, and they're like -10. So that was a huge game.
Oh,
and then when the Bills got home around like 2 a.m, there's 3,000 Buffalo lunatics in 2-degree weather waiting for the team outside the plane. So you know the Bills Mafia, they show support no matter what.
As far as my weekend, RA, what were you gonna say?
No, go ahead. After you.
Oh,
no meditation, went on a hike.
No, I got sick, man. I got fucking speed bag. End of Cabo, I got the stomach bug, and then went into the fucking pneumonia dunk tank. Marshawn Lynch out in Seattle, immune system low, like I got kicked in the dick. And then so we had to do that broadcast on the Monday, and I did the dunk tank the day before, and even the day before we ended up doing something with Gans and VR, and then flew cross country. The planes can't be good for a low immune system. And then we had the broadcast on Wednesday. Thank God it was only the early game and we didn't do a late game, but after that got kind of speed bag. But boys, I've been doing these Thai massages like crazy lately. Like if you looked at my credit card, you would seriously think that I'm addicted to tugs. And I don't know if this place is like an undercover tug place. I don't think it is. I think it's legitimate. I definitely thought it was legitimate until 2 massages ago, where the lady, she was like 50. She was getting lazy hands, like bumping into it quite a bit.
Did I do that?
Sure you weren't leaning into it?
I don't do that. I don't do but every time I've gone there, I've never had a repeat lady, and every time it's been 10 out of 10. These fucking
they hold on to the top and they walk on you?
Oh, then they walk on you. They fucking get their toes into your. What I find gets tight. Oh, buddy, right in there.
Rex Ryan is somewhere listening to this. Just loving himself.
No, not in a gross way, but I mean, they can apply more pressure than they would be with any other, like with their arm, their forearm, or whatever. So they're just beating the wheels off your posterior chain. So I love it. And from traveling, you're always curled up in a ball. So I went three days in a row. I went Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 3 days in a row. Is that aggressive? 2 hours each?
No, they knuckle them each time.
Well, they knuckle them all right.
That's what expensive they cost.
With tip, I think it's like $225.
Oh, that's a lot.
Yeah.
Is that a lot?
That's
like my new thing. That's like my new thing. Like if you say, what do you like splurge on now? I've done it like the last 3-4 times I've been home, where I go at least for 2 Thai massages when I get like a 4-day gap.
I don't know if you're on a first date, she's like, what are your hobbies? I don't think you lead with Thai massages. That probably won't go over well.
I know. I felt like I had to open up to somebody about it, and I figured I'd just talk to you guys about it. Where I'm like, hey, like 3 times, the old 3 and 3, like the American League. So that's kind of been all I've been doing lately, is getting Thai massages and chilling when I can. And then other than getting sick, it was a holiday.
So like, if you were to find out that this place was like a Robert Kraft Asian day spa type place, and they weren't like offering this to you, would you take offense? Like,
no, I was just be worried about like the fucking door caving in. Like,
I just go to the bathroom.
Like it's an
absolute. You on the news?
They think like Ben Affleck.
Busted in North Scottsdale with Kim Ji Long walking on his cornhole.
Hey, what if Kraft was going to one and didn't know, and he just was victim of circumstance. Like maybe
I think when you're getting a blowjob in a massage parlor that's called the Asian Day Spa, you know what it is.
Oh, he got like when they kicked down the door, he was getting a rinse.
There was video in that.
Oh no shit!
It had been staying for such a long time. The police had video.
Every time I look in the corner like the surveillance, and I'm like, I'm innocent.
Yeah,
my hands are by my side.
You had some Southern sheriff who just wanted to fucking pelt on his wall. That's it. Oh,
no shit, eh? You got the video bomb. Is that video gonna come out like the
Kraft walk? I mean the Belichick walk of shame one.
Yeah.
No,
I don't think probably the bottom of Boston Harbor right now. I would say.
Yeah.
I actually got a statement from Merles the other night. Now it was a pretty good shot for the Eagle. I'll tell you that. After the Bruins game, I was waiting for the Uber with my cousin Kirk, and dude walked by staring at me. He's like, "Are you Merles?" And I was like, "No, but I'll fucking take it." Merle's a fucking handsome fella, but I told him afterwards I was who I was actually. But yeah, with the Bees game the other night, man.
And what was his reaction? Was he let down?
He's like, "No." He's like, "Oh," I goes, "It's our age." "Oh yeah, nice to meet you, pal." I was like, "Yeah, okay. A lot worse than fucking Merles over the years. I'll tell you that."
No, he's a handsome man.
Oh, I'd love to be mistaken. I get Michael Rappaport and other like horrible looking people constantly. So that's a hell of a compliment.
That's among a great thing about the addition of Merles, and like also like the work he put in at in Gothenburg during the World Juniors, like just being able to have an extension of Chicklets that go there and muck it up with the fans and some of the family members too. He was hanging out with Will Smith's dad, who I think we met at the draft. So Merles is the man. And,
Merles has a vlog episode of Chicklets TV coming out next week too. It'll be out the 17th of January. And then
we're dropping one this week with the Seattle trip.
Yeah, that'll come out Thursday at 6 p.m.
Yeah, you can watch me get pneumonia in real time.
A lot of good stuff with you and Marshawn Lynch though, Biz. It was a hilarious conversation.
He's a beauty.
Guys, we're here. We need to talk about Pink Whitney, New Amsterdam's own. Pink Whitney, pink lemonade flavored vodka. And this time of year, I hope everyone enjoyed some Pink Whitney on New Year's Eve. Some people, including myself, maybe call it amateur night in terms of going out. But if you went out, if you celebrated, if you ripped it up, I hope it was with Pink Whitney. Little splash of soda water, maybe as a shot. And we got these 1.75 big old boys that are great for parties. You bring one over, everyone's mixing drinks with it. And also I had some pictures sent from the Jacksonville Jaguars game. They blew it. They blew their season. They lost to the Tennessee Titans, but there were people at the tailgate. All these Jags fans DMing me with Pink Whitney bottles and nips, just ripping up the tailgate. Fortunately, it ended up leading to a loss. My name is involved, and I can't pick a winner to save my life. But I got Pink Whitney behind my back. Everyone is enjoying some football games, some family gatherings. I mean, maybe even before church, if you're going to like an afternoon mass, you can just have a little Pink Whitney. Loosen yourself up before you go visit God yourself. Whitney, go to your local bar, have a shot, have a drink, buy a bottle, buy a nip. Any support we love, we appreciate. We hope you love the drink as much as I love it. I know right now, if you haven't tried it and you just give it a shot, you will not be disappointed. So your local liquor store or your local bar, watering hole, give it a shot right now. Tell them Whit sent you. Actually, don't tell them that because a lot of people don't like me, but tell them you want to try Pink Whitney. Give it a chance. You won't regret it. New Amsterdam's only Pink Whitney vodka.
Yeah, boys. Already mentioned we got Will Smith from the U.S. World Junior team that just won gold. We also have Seattle goalie Joey DeCoy. A couple of Massholes on great interviews. They'll come to you. But there's the big news. Your boy Willie Styles got paid. Looks like the Rumor Boys might have been onto something. William Neely has been extended an 8-year, $92 million deal. Comes out to $11.5 million a year. Also has a full no-move clause. He has a modified no-trade clause for the rest of this season. A lot of folks don't seem to think the Leafs are going to be able to keep these four forwards. So Nylander is going to be signed through 2032 with this next deal. Matthews will be signed through 2028. Tavares only has one more left at $11 million. Mana's got one more year left at $10.9 million. Can they do this, Biz? Can they keep these four guys? This season, $40.5 million contracts. Next season, it's going to go up to $46.6. Is it doable without losing any of these four?
No. So, I mean, there's a lot of things that dive into here. Okay, so if you're starting with that one, no, there's one more year with Tavares books, and I actually think that next year with all these contracts, could be a potential down year. But then you get JT off the books, and my feeling on him is like, hey man, you were overpaid more so than anyone. If you came here to get the job done, if he's still at his age being productive as a third line centerman, I think if you could bring him back for like fucking Giordano took 2 years at $850, come back and give a bro contract when you were kind of the anchor on the salary front. That's my opinion. Fucking Nylander's been doing way more at 6.9, and I know that the contract, one was an unrestricted free agent, one was restricted. I get all that. But I think that it was wise to sign him and keep him from a three-headed monster perspective, because you're talking about 3 of the top 20 players in the world. You're talking about guys who can actually thrive and play in Toronto. Like, what are you going to do? Roll a dice that you bring in someone that good who can actually handle the heat of playing in Toronto? And as far as him not taking a hometown deal, I think the hometown deal was probably there this summer at maybe 8 times 11 a year. But that wasn't offered to him, and that's maybe what they want him taking then. He's going to say, oh, so I'm going into a prove-it year, and he's 6th in the league in scoring? Like, he's saying the Pasternak, he's like, yeah, that's the comp. He also signed that before we knew that the cap was going up $4.2 million.
Well, they knew it was going up. But.
Right, but I would say that was the comp, right? Everybody's talking about the Pasternak deal was the comp, where I think that you could say that of right now, maybe more people would say I would want Pasternak on my team based on everything else. But based on like a production and play standpoint, I would say they're dead even for this season and what they're doing.
This season being the key word.
Yes.
Okay. Pasternak making less money than him is fucking bonkers.
And I agree, and that's what I think is silly, and where I'm like, oh God, dude, couldn't you just have taken the Pasternak deal? Like, stuff. Even at $11 million, like, I still think that's like a good guy contract if you would have taken $11 million, where people would have been like, oh God, why are you squeezing for that last nut, right? So that's where
I'm squeezing for that last nut.
But having to play in Toronto and endure the media and everything that goes with it, I completely understand why none of these guys take a discount. And on top of that, it's always this like, let's put the fan base against the players. Bro, Austin, we should be getting into the conversation of franchise tags. One of these guys per team could make up to $25 million from the organization, and it doesn't go against the cap. Austin Matthews is putting, I would say his value is about $75 million a year to the Toronto Maple Leafs brand. Think about the jump in franchise values and how many people pay attention and their merchandise sales. He's on pace to be the greatest goal scorer to ever live, right? Like, if he stays healthy and he's as hungry as we think he is here, think of what that does to like the New York Yankees of the NHL. And he's like being the bad guy for making $13 million, and then he's got to grind it out, and not grind it out, but I think that these guys could pull in between $4 and $5 million in advertising. So now he's making $18 million and I know we've kind of gotten off the rails here, but I think that what I want to commend Brad Treliving and them for not making a double error. John Tavares' contract wasn't Brad Treliving's. To me, it's the anchor. And now you got 2 26-year-olds and a 27-year-old locked in. Yes, are their cap hits this year and next year looking good? No. But if the cap keeps going at what they are, you got these 3 players that are top 20 in the league that know what it's like to play in the market and aren't fazed by it, which is a special thing in its own right. Then you got them locked up in their prime, and the cap's high enough where you can go work around them. You don't have the JT contract that's that bad. Yeah, you got shit that you got to figure out. They got to figure out like consistent goaltending. Do they got to solidify the defense in the bottom two lines? Yeah,
those are big things, though.
Yes, no, I get it. There's still work, but buddy, having 3 marquee players locked in for their primes isn't a bad problem to have. That's a problem that a lot of fucking teams would want to have. And if they go on to, when did Ovi win his cup?
So bad.
30 years old.
2018.
30 years old. They were saying the same shit about the Caps forever.
Hey,
but they didn't panic and deviate from the plan.
But they didn't have 4 guys trying to get every single money out of them.
But you're this is fucking chess, not checkers. You can't all of a sudden move off one of these guys because you got Tavares for 1 more year after this year. You're looking beyond that. And then the cap's way more to play off. And then from a percentage standpoint, you're not getting dinged that bad from a cap perspective. I agree with you guys. This year, I think you're in better shape than next year. It's kind of like the amnesty buyouts with the Minnesota Wild. Next year, you're getting fucking bent over because between those 4 contracts and Morgan Riley, you're talking like 60% of the cap. So you're like, oh, God.
So garbage.
But then all of a sudden, when John Tavares 11.5 comes off the books, and then the cap goes up another 4.5, and this is assuming that you're going to get Marner locked in at $12 million. Let's say he doesn't take any type of hometown discount. You're probably looking at 12.5, okay? Where it's like, that's worst case scenario.
That can't happen. He cannot make another $1 million a year, dude. The problem with all of this is that all these Stanley Cup champions, and it goes back to Crosby, and let's get into him later. It goes back to why do you need to take every nickel and dime? And as a former player, I can't believe what I'm saying because I want everyone to get paid. But there is no difference between signing for $84 million and $92 million, which, mind you, 11.5 for 8 years, $92 million for Nylander. What number did his dad win?
Okay.
And
so
what did I say?
Okay, so fair, Rhett. So what's happened is what I said earlier, is they've tried to peg us against the player for being bad for taking the money. That's what the fucking problem is. These guys are, if you pulled all these other guys underground around the league, they would be kissing these guys' feet because they're raising the bar for them.
Oh, yeah.
So from a player-to-player standpoint, they're like, yeah, you might not win anything, and it's going to be a lot harder, and there's going to be a lot more pressure on your back because you boys have now taken away from maybe getting that third-line center who could have helped you in a time of need. Sure. But I can't blame these guys for taking what they're taking. And another thing, too, is what are you going to do if you're fucking Nylander? They made you sweat it out by not maybe paying you. Maybe he would have taken $11 million before the season started. And then when you put me through, 4 months of stress in Toronto in front of this media and this market to be second-league scoring, man, you're going to cover my fucking screaming ego and PJ money for the next 8 years in the offseason because you made me sweat it out. And he's having a nice bottle of screaming ego with his old man right now because he probably told him the same. He's like, fuck you, man. They made you sweat it out. Go get it. And I can't blame them for that because as long as they keep delivering. Nylander, he outperformed the last contract, and I would say you could probably say he's been, of the 3, the most consistent and best player in playoffs. At least he was last year. And that's not taking anything away from Matthews. I just thought that Nylander was better. And Matthews might have been a little banged up. So I know we're kind of getting into the weeds, and I completely agree with everyone. I think everyone's saying that it can't be done. It would have to be unprecedented to pull it off, but to make a double error by not bringing Marner, Matthews, and Nylander, 2 of them being secured, because you got stuck with 1 more year of the JT deal, I think that's not seeing the forest through the trees, and I commend Tree Living for getting it done and securing an absolute stallion in the market.
So
that's it. That's what I feel.
So Tavares is on pace for 75 points. Say he does that next year. Not a bad idea to think that maybe they can get him on a 3-year deal for 4.5 a year.
If he doesn't take some type of hometown discount to help them out, I think that's when I'm like, all right, man, bro, you've made your money. You hit the top of the market. You're now in your hometown. You're the captain of the team, and you ain't going to be leading it. These horses that are Nylander, Marner, and Matthews, they're the horses. You can provide that leadership. You can sit in your Muskoka fucking cabin every summer. You probably got 50 racks in the bank, and you got a nice place in maybe near Yorkville. I don't know. He's chilling. I think that's where the discount has to come. And so, go ahead.
No, I'm thinking the Leafs are for sure in a tough spot here. We're in a tough spot with Nylander. He had all the leverage But if I'm sitting there, I'm like, why? Why do you deserve more than David Pastrnak? Like, it wasn't like his deal was signed 3 years ago. It was last year, dude. Like, and in the end, you're sitting around there and you're just wondering, as Tree Living probably did, like, why are you nickel and diming us for the very end of this to get to 11.5? And in the end, it started when Tavares got his, and then Matthew got his, and then when nobody ends up taking a deal, this is what happens. And you look at this team, they're not winning the Stanley Cup. Let's be honest, basically.
I think chip in a chair. You never know when a goalie can get hot. We saw that last year. I think they have the capabilities to come out of the East. I think the East is very unpredictable. Do I think that they have this magic formula that's like battle tested in playoffs? No. Like, would I take the Winnipeg Jets and the way that they kind of operate over it's more consistent. Like, they play better team structure. Like, if you lose one guy, it's not taking a huge piece away. Yeah, like I think that their next year, as I said, could be a down year based on the severity. And I wrote down the contract. So the 5 guys, right? So I've kind of compared around the league, and especially to the last 2 Stanley Cup champions. I go back to Vegas and then Colorado. And obviously their percentage of the cap to their top 5 guys being played, like it's lower. Like right now, it's lower. 54 million is where the Leafs at. 39.4 is where the Vegas Golden Knights are. So that's a fucking big chunk of dough, right? Now Vegas has some guys that will have to end up being paid. So this is just based on what you're seeing right now. But then also like Colorado, I think they're at 43 million or just under 44. So 41% of the team's cap. Where I think that even going to next year, I think with the salaries that are still around, it would be like 48% or even close to 50% of the Leafs cap invested into 5 guys. But that drops drastically, as we keep mentioning, once Tavares comes out the books. But then you got Morgan Riley at 7.5, Matthews at 13.25. You got Nylander at 11.5, and then assuming that this is with Marner at 11.
So if this summer they want to re-up Marner, summer they want to re-up Marner, right?
Yeah.
And they go to him and they say, "Here's Nylander's deal. Sign it now. You got another year of your current deal. Sign this one." Are you telling me that you accept if he like that he could be like, no, I don't want that.
Oh, I think it would be shitty.
If he didn't take it.
Yeah, because I think that
that's where I want to see.
I think it becomes. I don't know. Yeah, like, and that's another thing too. Here, it's like before you have to go into this kind of prove it year. It's like, hey man, this is a very healthy years. You're going to be signing bonus front loaded here, just like Nylander got. And also, like right now, I think as it sits, Marner's like 27th in scoring. So if it finishes off where he's 20 points ahead on the scoring chart, when you're like, here's the deal, and he doesn't want to sign it, yeah, I think he's not being a great guy. But
okay,
maybe
in the end, it's really hard being a former player and like judging anyone for getting every single penny that you're worth. But then, like, on the analyst side of it, you just look at former Stanley Cup winning teams, and you look at guys willing to take a little less, and it all goes back to, at the end of your career, I don't think $10 to $20 million makes that much of a difference. Nylander's going to make $150 million, $145 million at the end of this. You're telling me if you make $128 million, you're like, are you changing where you're going to dinner? Are you staying at cheaper hotels? Oh, it's a how much do you want to win, and then how much do you want to make every maximum dollar possible for you to make? Now that's the great question.
Whit, I agree with you. See the Patrice Bergerons and the Brad Marchands and the guys from a cultural standpoint who have done it. Man, like I commend those guys. Like that's why I said this franchise tag needs to happen, where it's like
I agree with you on
Pittsburgh
that.
should be paying for the last couple of years Crosby as a franchise tag player, $25 million as kind of this like, buddy. We're talking about like, remember when LeBron was making $50 million and he was carrying the league? He kind of still is. He should be making $250 million based on what these franchise values and the people tuning in because of certain players. The same goes for David, the same goes for Matthews, and then a handful of guys as far as who's carrying it all. And
what you said is very true in terms of like the way after the season was canceled and when the cap came in, what has happened is unfair to players in a sense that it makes them look like the bad guys.
That's what I'm saying. We've been psychologically programmed for that to happen. Where it's like the next CBA trip, if I'm Connor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl, Austin Matthews, get the fucking dogs in there. Buddy, when Adam Silver, when he has like stuff he wants to talk about, he'll like call LeBron and consult. That's from what I hear. I might be completely speaking off cuff here, but I'm pretty sure that goes down. I feel like there should be a relationship like that between the commissioner and the top dog players. And
but the commissioner works for the owners. And
I understand that, but I understand. But I think that we're at a place where players have done a good job sacrificing, where there can be a smart give back here. You have to, and you also, you want to keep those, that's why the big dogs have to get together and they have to stand next to each other and maybe get a little vocal. And maybe it doesn't even need to get to that point based on the success and how the league is thriving. And especially if you want these Austin Matthews, McDavid, these other top dogs to maybe be a little bit more emotionally invested in the PR and the off ice and showing more charisma. We'll fucking pay them for it. Like maybe as part of that package as being the franchise tag, it's like maybe there's a little bit more access to be had. I don't know. But
I just don't picture, like I'm with you, I just don't picture the owners giving into anything. And it's like billionaires end up winning. These guys, like they won't be back down. And in the end, like they had such a win getting this cap and getting everything done the way it happened, whatever it is, 9 years, well, how long ago?
And guess what? As a result, the league is thriving. They set up a good foundation. And I think from as far as the pendulum swinging, I think that most players and people can see that it should be maybe time to swing it back just a little bit. Like escrow, I don't think we need escrow. You know what would be a nice legacy play for the owners? Maybe provide insurance for everybody who played. And what would the cost of that be? Claw that back a little bit. Maybe they do get this franchise tag, but there's more there to give back, especially to the players that are growing the game. Like there's a handful of guys that are like, they're doing some heavy lifting. Am I crazy here? Am I speaking?
No, and one thing that Ari mentioned to us before the episode, right? I don't know how this is going to go down, and Marty Walsh has brought it up. Well, Vegas paid $500 million to get in the league. Seattle paid $650. What the hell is going to be the cost?
There'll be two more teams, and I think we'll be the first team pro league to 34 teams, and I think each of those will go for $1 million. And I don't.
Is there any chance that the PA can get a little tiny sliver of that? And owners are going to say, no fucking chance. Take a hike and kick rocks. But at some point, you would think, like, with where this league is going and how successful everything's been, and the game's better than ever, that you got to hook up these guys a little bit more. And I'm not saying like any of these guys should be crying poor. The only problem that really I look at is it has created this crazy division. And I remember years ago, I don't know if it was Mark Recchi or an old veteran was telling me it's just going to turn into the guys, the superstars make a ton. And then there's the guys at the bottom not making a lot relative pro sports terms. And there's not much middle ground anymore. That's what's happening. And that's why it's like, in the perfect world, there'd be more guys in the middle. That's what's disappearing.
Yeah, I mean, sure.
You know what I'm saying?
No, I get you. Maybe I don't know how to solve that. But I'm saying that Connor McDavid is the most powerful player in hockey since Wayne Gretzky. I think we can all agree on that. What he does for the game.
Crosby.
Okay. From in the way that
currently, you mean because he's younger and sits like on the back nine?
Yeah, like I would say that Wayne Gretzky would admit he got to a certain age where he passed the torch over to Lemieux to kind of carry the league from that standpoint, right? No disrespect to Sid, but I'm saying is let's say Sid, Matthews, and McDavid if they got together, I think that their voice would be powerful enough where all the things that you're about and clawing back. I think that because of, I think at the time when like Wayne was involved, like it was easier for them to get stuff, right? Because he had that much impact. Am I crazy talking here?
No, because I think the players are getting more leverage than they ever had. At the same time, the owners have been bullying them for 100 years in this league. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, that's not going to change. That's kind of what I'm saying. Like, when will that all of a sudden change course?
Because I think that it's becoming so lucrative that the move that they can make next will seem so astronomical to the players, when in reality we're going to be looking back in 10 years and the franchise values might be worth twice the amount. Like they have to at some point understand that this is being done off the backs of Connor McDavid, Austin Matthews, and Sidney Crosby. Think about this one. Think about Ovechkin. I know he's being paid handsomely and has been in the past, but let's say he doesn't break the goal record under this circumstance, and the new CBA is written where you can get a franchise tag. Do you know how much organizations would be willing to pay to him wear the jersey in which he breaks the most goals ever scored? Why should he be able to be compensated for that? That is such a fucking huge moment for our game. Think of the value. The Regina Pats, and I know they ended up making playoffs, but going back to the WHL last year, he didn't trade Connor Bedard. He could have fucking got, remember we had the guy who told the story about the bus? He could have got 21st
deal in the WHL. It's like
he could have asked for the fucking next 5 years draft picks and the team bus and to crush the fucking owner's old lady, and they would have got it. Like that's how much value that he. I know you. Am I being too much? Is that too much out of pocket there, Witz?
I mean, it was Connor Bedard.
Connor Bedard
points a game.
That's what I'm saying. Okay, maybe we should. I get right. But the value that he had being drafted first overall as a Regina Pat, that was valuable to his organization. And forever, if he ends up being a Crosby, the Rimouski Oceanic, there's brand value there. And that's kind of
all right. What do you got? All right.
Wait, I think it'll change when the union has everyone unanimous. The word we try to come up with.
Does that ever happen in any union?
No. Very seldom, but I think if you have over 90%, I think sometimes historically there's been too much division within the NHLPA, because some guys want to make their money now, other guys don't want to sacrifice for people further down the line because they might not be making a lot of dough. This current CBA expires September 26th. Marty Walsh did say we're going to ask for these fees. I think the owners got to laugh in their face because they think that's their money, but why should it just be their money when it's all about the players too? That's what I don't really understand. Why they get all of those fees. It doesn't make
sense. And we're talking, and I'm in a sense chirping players about what's the difference at the end of your career if you make 110 or 130. Like, times that by 400 with these guys.
Yeah, the owners' fucking families are in generational wealth.
They're the true greedy.
If you say the owners, you're a bootlegger, no doubt about that.
I agree. But as Bissett and Alan Walsh had agreed, this cap created a way where the players are the bad guys, and that's been the discourse that's unfortunate to see. It's like, yeah, these guys are getting paid a ton, and if you want to win a cup, I have an opinion that you take a little less. But in the end, if they take as much as they can get, and fans are all over them, it's like the owners won in that aspect because they ended up making them look like dudes when they really aren't, and the owners are worth billions. So
I think that Ovi, Sid, I forgot Ovi out of this group of guys too when I was mentioning that
you forgot the Nate talk because they'll come in there.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like there's plenty of guys. I said like 15, 20 guys could get together and really kind of get ahead of this and make this their legacy play. And you said, the top guys just kind of the bar gets higher, and then the lesser players kind of get left crumbs. Make the league minimum where it's bumped up more so than it ever has been. Like I think right now, man, it's not bad. League minimum's what, like $50, $1 million? Not bad when you're flying around on private jets and shit. Like, yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Well, the other part we didn't bring up is if you're playing in Florida making $9.5, so like Matthew Tkachuk will actually make more money per year net making $9.5 than Nylander will making $11.5 in Ontario. So that's another aspect where teams in Massachusetts, California, New York, Ontario, like you gotta pay more because guys can go down south, they can go to Vegas, and they can go to Nashville, or well, the Preds are a little different, but you can make more money with a way lower AAV in a non-tax state.
And you're not.
But to the Leafs point, back to the Leafs, like yeah, one more year Tavares, you got to get Marner signed. I don't know what's going to happen there. But in terms of a Stanley Cup team, they don't have it right now. They don't have a defense that you win a Stanley Cup with. And so as a Leafs fan, you're all fired up. You got this core in there for the next 5 years till Matthews deal's done. But I want to see it. If I'm a Leafs fan, I want to see a well-rounded, balanced team. And when you're paying this few guys this much money, as a fan, you're like, I don't see how we're going to compete at the level of Vegas, at the level of Colorado. And that's what's, I think, frustrating for some of these fans. Even though the sentiment I got was people were excited and fired up that the deal got done.
Yeah.
I think one more thing, Whit. Escrow should be a non-starter. If the owners even mention it, the units should just walk out.
That could be the reason for a lockout. And I don't think there'll be one. But the escrow thing, enough.
Yeah,
and especially with what the players have dealt with since COVID. And the payback, and it's like, guys, can we get rid of the escrow?
No.
Marty Walsh is gonna, it'll be a good test, right? The guy's been a part of unions forever. Let's see how it all goes down. We're far enough away, but Louis Gross ends up getting Nylander the possible year of the lockout when it ends. Isn't his signing bonus $10 million that year, Biz? I saw the contract, but I think
60 something might be being paid in signing bonus.
Yeah. See, that's what other teams can't do that the Leafs can. That's the thing.
I don't know if you've already said it. I was tuned out. You said that Matthew Tkachuk will net more than what William Nylander does.
9.5 in Florida will net you more than 11.5 in Ontario.
Yeah, I mean no tax versus whatever 40%. Hey, Matty,
but you know what? Last thing, talk about deserving it.
Yes.
Right. The guy went out. Biz said it. He's balled out on a make or break season. So he's a rich man. And let's see what the Leafs do in the playoffs.
I think, and the last thing I'll say is I think they'll have a really nice 3-year window after the Tavares deal's up. And agreed with you on all fronts. There's a lot of issues, but it's never bad to have 3 fucking marquee superstars going into their prime, locked in for an organization who can face the music of Toronto. Like, you saw Bertuzzi come over with the success he had in Boston. It's not always so easy to play in a tough market, right? I'm not saying the book's out on him. Like, who knows? Maybe he has a great back half and he fucking lights it up, great playoff, whatever. 3 guys who can play in a tough market. Let's go Leafs, baby!
Well, maybe Marty will get a couple of his Savin Hill boys with a couple of leg breakers for that. Go to the table.
I'm a little bit more optimistic than you guys about. I think that
I don't think there's going to be a lockout.
No,
I don't. I was just saying, like, he brought up the escrow. It's like, that's one thing.
Yeah.
You would like to see the players safe.
No escrow. No escrow.
All right, boys, time to talk about the United States. Absolutely dummied Sweden on Friday, 6-2 for their 6th World Junior title. This team is just getting better and better every year. Are they even with the Canadians right now, or do they need another tournament to sort of be even? I'm talking about the young guys here.
Are you talking about the junior players or best on best?
The junior guys, like this age level. I mean, after this tournament.
With Bedard and Fantilli not there, obviously I think the higher end talent and top end talent Canada has, and even best on best, like McKinnon, McDavid, Crosby, Makar. Okay. But it is now as even as it's ever been. And the thing about it that's so exciting for me and all USA hockey fans out there is I think 10 years from now, I think we're heads and shoulders above them. And my main reason for that is the entire population and the size of the United States. And never before has the entire country been used. And obviously still now, there's states that don't have big hockey programs or hockey programs at all. But growing up and before me, it was Minnesota, it was Massachusetts, it was Michigan, it was New York. Like, that was pretty much it. There's 350 million people in the United States. We got Brindley growing up in Florida. We got Seamus Casey, Florida. We got Zeke Bouya in California. All of a sudden now, and thanks to Wayne Gretzky originally coming over, we talked about that in the Christmas episode. We got the Arizona Coyotes forming, and all of a sudden Austin Matthews is from Arizona. Now all of a sudden the country is getting players from everywhere. And the fact of the matter is it's only going to continue, it's only going to get stronger, and it's only going to get bigger. So you're telling me in 10 years, when there's more players, look at this kid, Mason Lowry from Louisiana on the Bruins. All of a sudden, states are producing players, and it never happened before. And so just based on our population alone, like, heads up where USA Hockey is going, because it's gotten better, it's gotten bigger and stronger. The national program has been exactly what they thought it would be, and it took a long time, right? Like, this is a 20-year thing. 98 it happened. And all of a sudden now you're seeing these other states and these players. And before, the best athletes in America didn't play hockey. And granted, that'll still never change because of price, I think, and football and basketball being easy to play and not nearly as expensive. So they'll always be part of that. But there are way more elite level athletes who 30 years ago never even would have considered hockey. That now all of a sudden the Florida Panthers go on a run last year. You're telling me there wasn't an 8-year-old kid that got into it that wants to play hockey, and his friends and him start playing, and one of them turn into a stud? So based on population alone, it's not really a brag. Like, we should be better than Canada. But it's finally coming to fruition where you're using the entire country. USA Hockey's done an incredible job with grassroots in all these different southern markets. NHL teams going there is a big part of it. So now USA Hockey, it's a wagon. And it's not slowing down. This isn't like, oh, we've evened out here and we're going to continue like this. No, this is an upward trend. And Canada will always be great, and the best on